Good evening and welcome to the December 18th New Franklin City Council meeting. We're going to start off with our committee meetings. Start off with our Streets and Drainage Committee. Mr. Rowland.
Thank you. We'll open up the Streets and Drainage Committee at 6 p.m. on the dot, starting with resolution number 24R85, a resolution authorizing New Franklin to participate in the Summit County Engineers Regional Pavement Maintenance Program for 2025 and declaring an emergency. I wanted to get a little bit of background information for people that don't really know the Summit County Engineers Program. Is that this office started this program in 2011, and the big beef of it is that the office bid process was opened up to other communities to save money, really. The larger purchasing power created by the bidding for pavement maintenance items has decreased the cost overall. Is that what I'm getting? Is the main directive of this program?
Yes.
Yes.
Does anybody have? I mean, that's basically what it is. It's just a win-win for the county and the city. Does anybody have any other thoughts or comments or questions, please?
This doesn't commit us to
Does not
participating in it. It just gives us that option when we
Yeah.
put together our program to see where the best price is for us. Just one more option for us.
Yeah, that's 100% on the dot. That's what I have it. So it's not like forcing us to do other stuff as well. We still have complete authority over our own projects and what we want to do.
I believe we do the crack sealing and striping through the street, don't we?
The striping through that, not necessarily the crack sealing, although we have done it. Normally, the chip and seal is done through the county program.
Does anybody else have any questions or comments? Perfect. We will close the Streets and Drainage Committee at 6:02 p.m.
All right, we're going to move on to our Finance Committee. Mr. Cox.
Thank you. We are moving to supplemental agenda. Resolution 24R86 is a resolution authorizing the transfer of funds and declaring that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon passage. Ms. Cook, would you like to kind of give us an overview of what we've got going on here this time?
Sure. As you know, you don't get too many line item transfers like this because basically if it's how the budget is set up, if it's within personnel services, then I have the authority to move whatever's necessary. But if it goes between other charges and personnel services, then I have to come back to you, and that's what this is about. For example, police hospitalization, obviously I needed some appropriations in that line. It was more than what was anticipated. And then the other two are for admin salaries, because as you know, we had somebody that retired, so that took a chunk of change. So those are what those transfers are for.
Mr. Schaefer asked me a question earlier about the dates that are listed on here.
Those are the effective dates of the transfers themselves.
The transfers already happened?
Yes. Because in order to close out the month, they don't always coincide with your meetings. So when we've had to do it, there's always been an effective date, yes.
And don't you do that so you don't have a negative roll into the coming up?
Exactly.
So it's just to keep with GAAP practices.
Exactly.
Questions, comments? Comfortable waiving three? Super duper Cooper. We will ask to waive three on this. Our next resolution is Resolution 24R87, a resolution requesting that the Summit County Fiscal Officer make an advance payment of tax funds for tax year 2024 payable in 2025 to the City of New Franklin and declaring an emergency. And this is something we do every year at this time.
That's correct. That just gives us the authority to advance the tax funds.
Questions, comments? Waive three, and we will close the Finance Committee, if we ever opened it, at 6:05.
All right, that wraps up our committee meetings. So I'd like to officially call the order to City of New Franklin Council meeting. Please join me in the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Kelly, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Cox?
Present.
Mr. Schaefer?
Present.
Mrs. Jones?
Present.
Mr. Powell?
Present.
Mr. Stiles?
Yes, present.
Mr. Wolf?
Present.
Mr. Almond?
Present.
Do I have a motion to approve the financials for November of 2024?
I'll make a motion.
We have a first, we have a second.
Second.
We have a first and a second, Kelly?
Mr. Schaefer?
Yes.
Mrs. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Powell?
Yes.
Mr. Stiles?
Yes.
Mr. Wolf?
Yes.
Mr. Almond?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Motion passes. We now enter into our public comment section of the meeting. Anybody that has any public comments, please address council, provide your name and address.
Yes, one of our online viewers asked if there was any update on the leaf pickups.
On the leaf pickups.
Mhm.
We don't have a leaf pickup program.
We have a drop off,
We have a drop off.
and they are done for the year.
Okay, so yeah, the leaf drop off program is done for the year. They drop it off at the Hampshire Road location.
Yes. However, they, they're open, the service department is open during the week, so if you, got stuck, I'm sure they would help you out.
What hours are they there? Would it be like from 7:30, say, until 3?
Yeah, 7 to 30 after.
Can we, according to council rules, can we do online questions because they can't express their name or address? Would that be our own rules?
We could look at, we might have to amend our own rules or council.
I'm being nitpicky now, but
Yeah.
I'm like, that's the only rules we're governed by. It's just the rules we're governed by.
Yeah, this is probably the first time we've had it online.
I think so.
All right. Just made aware I skipped the approval of the financials. If I could have a motion to approve the financials for November 2024.
I'll make a motion.
We have a first,
Second.
we have a first and a second.
Mrs. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Powell?
Yes.
Mr. Stiles?
Yes.
Mr. Wolf?
Yes.
Mr. Almond?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Mr. Schaefer?
Yes. All right. Okay, so if we don't have any more public comments. All right, I'll close public comments. Move on to resolution 24R85, Kelly.
A resolution authorizing New Franklin to participate in the Summit County Engineers Regional Pavement Maintenance Program for 2025 and declaring an emergency.
Yep, so this resolution was assigned to the Streets and Drainage Committee. I'd like to make a motion to waive the 3 readings.
Second.
Mr. Powell?
Yes.
Mr. Stiles?
Yes.
Mr. Wolf?
Yes.
Mr. Almond?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Mr. Schaefer?
Yes.
Mrs. Jones?
Yes.
I'd like to move to adopt resolution 24R85.
Second.
We have a first and a second, Kelly.
Mr. Powell?
Yes.
Mr. Stiles?
Yes.
Mr. Wolf?
Yes.
Mr. Almond?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Mr. Schaefer?
Yes.
Mrs. Jones?
Yes.
Kelly, if you would, 24R86.
A resolution authorizing the transfer of funds and declaring that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon passage.
This resolution is assigned to the Finance Committee, and we move to waive the 3 readings on resolution 24R86.
Second.
First and second.
Mr. Stiles?
Yes.
Mr. Wolf?
Yes.
Mr. Almond?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Mr. Schaefer?
Yes.
Mrs. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Powell?
Yes.
We move to adopt resolution 24R86.
Second.
We have a first and a second, Kelly.
Mr. Stiles?
Yes.
Mr. Wolf?
Yes.
Mr. Almond?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Mr. Schaefer?
Yes.
Mrs. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Powell?
Yes. Resolution passes 7-0. Resolution 24R87, Kelly.
A resolution requesting that the Summit County Fiscal Officer make an advance payment of tax funds for tax year 2024 payable in 2025 to the City of New Franklin and declaring an emergency.
This resolution is also assigned to the Finance Committee, and we move to waive the 3 readings on resolution 24R87.
Second.
We have a first and a second.
Mr. Wolf?
Yes.
Mr. Almond?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Mr. Schaefer?
Yes.
Mrs. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Stiles?
Yes.
Mr. Wolf?
Yes. We move to adopt resolution 24R87.
Second.
Vote in first and second.
Mr. Wolf?
Yes.
Mr. Almond?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Mr. Schaefer?
Yes.
Mrs. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Stiles?
Yes.
Mr. Powell?
Yes. Resolution passes 7-0. We have no second or third readings, no pending legislation. Sue, were you going to do anything for the mayor's report, or?
He sent me a mayor's report.
Wow. Let's do the mayor's report.
I'm sure I can't do it justice, but I'll give it a shot. He wanted to thank everybody that made the Tudor House Christmas open house a big success. He said there were over 1,000 visitors and choirs from 3 school districts performing, not to mention a camel, a mule, and other livestock. He wanted to especially thank all of the volunteers, and that includes Judy Williams, Katie Smith, who did the organizing, and of course Rosie, who was there as usual from the start to finish. Secondly, he wanted to thank police officers who gave their time to raise $3,500 at Burgers and Badges, and thank local McDonald's and everyone that supported that event. Then he also wanted to say thanks to the police officers who took the kids from our local schools to a full day of fun at Shop with the Cop, because each youngster was treated with breakfast, a free ride to Walmart, and $150 to shop for family members. Then the officers even provided $500 cards for schools to distribute for families in need. So that was very successful. Then he wanted to make sure that he thanked council, employees, union members, and all the citizens who donated over $3,000 to provide the gift cards to the 8 families in need for the holidays from the 4 from each school district. So he said, once again, everyone came through and he was very grateful for that. He said the water project is flowing along nicely. We received notice this week of compliance with federal EPA requirements, and now we're moving on to bidding, all in concert with ODNR's plans to have their $4 million visitors center open later next year, and all at no cost to our citizens. Also, he wanted to make sure that you were aware that the public hearing, the planning and zoning, on planning and zoning recommendations regarding the conditional use application for the Tudor House will be Tuesday, January 2nd at 6 p.m. Lastly, he texted me the winners of the holiday lights. So if you bear with me for a second, I shall bring this up. So I can read it. First place, there were 4 houses, 1263 Vanderhook, also on Vanderhook, 1272, on Sylvania Drive, 749, and on Green Valley Drive, 1022. Those all are first place. Then second place, 1154 Woodcrest Avenue and 1360 Midland Avenue. Third place, 5876 Bolander Road and 6206 South Cleveland Massillon Road. And there are some honorable mentions, of course. 6454 South Main Street, 168 West Caston Road, 6127 North Oval, 1389 Trails End Drive, 6141 Manchester Road, 2985 Vanderhook Road, 614 West Comet Road, and 1012 Stump Road. We'd like to thank everybody for the beautiful lights that they set out, and the winners will be getting a certificate from the city regarding that. And lastly, but certainly not least, he wanted to make sure that he wished everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Thank you. Did you say the Tier House meeting was on Tuesday, the 2nd? That was the
It's
Thursday.
Thursday the 2nd.
Sorry, she did write Tuesday.
It is
To be
Thursday.
Thursday. You are correct.
Mr. Powell, with that public hearing, I'm wondering if we should have our organizational meeting first, then public hearing, then go into council.
I would agree with that.
So I don't know if that's legal the way we should.
Because we're going to need somebody to run the meeting.
Yeah, so just something to keep in mind.
Sue, since you're ready, you do the finance report?
I do, just a short one. As you can imagine, we're pretty busy. I'm jockeying back and forth between payroll and closing months and doing bills and everything else. So it's gonna get worse, not better. But we're doing the best we can, and we'll hit all the deadlines like we always do. One thing I wanted to let you know that, if you are on the city's insurance, your temporary ID should be found in your mailbox or in your folders. They sent out temporary IDs for our SummaCare program, so if you are signed up for that, please make sure you get those. They will mail out the permanent cards to the employees, but these are just temporary in case you have to use them immediately on January 1st. Another thing is that we got our new phones in. They are not functioning right now. They're sitting on everybody's desk and at all the proper places and plugged in because they had to test the whole system. And then we are going live on Friday. So then we'll be working out all the kinks. You'll be seeing 2 phones on everybody's desk probably for at least 2 weeks until all the kinks are worked out. But they're really nice and they're very functional. Stephen will probably come to the first February meeting or one of the meetings in February after they've worked all the kinks out of the system to bring all of you up to speed on putting the app on your phone and having access to your own telephone number and messages for citizens and residents. And that's really all I have right now.
Thank you. Any old business?
I do have old business, a couple of things. I also want to mention the food banks and Barberton Community Ministries. Please try to donate this time of year, particularly because people need it so desperately, and they can buy so much more than we can. And I also want to mention the farmers market for next year, because I don't think you can ever prepare people too early. And I want everybody to keep that in mind, because we may start earlier next year. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other old business? I've got a couple of things here. One is to remind everybody about Santa's delivery. Deadline to drop off your gifts would be December 22nd to drop off to the Franklin Police Fire Department or the Coventry Fire Department. Second thing I wanted to touch on was a item we had at the last meeting. We had a resident here that had inquired about some future firearm language. I reached out to a handful of different communities. I reached out to Barberton, Akron, Talmadge, Chicago Falls, Norton, and Stowe. I received responses back from 3 of them. And all the 3 that I received responses back from, while they do have restrictions in some areas, they also allow some firearms use in other areas of the community. And it varies just depending on which community you're dealing with there. I haven't heard anything back yet from Talmadge, Akron, or Norton. So those are the things that I had. I just want to make sure I touched on that. Do you know if the mayor had reached out to our legal?
I'm assuming he did, but he hasn't told me about that.
That's all I have on old business. Anybody with any new business? No?
I do.
Okay.
I go along with what Paul said. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everyone. We may not get another chance to say that.
I will second that. A couple things I wanted to bring up. Last year, actually just right around this time, we had passed a resolution for Insight and Credo. That's resolution 23R101. That resolution basically stated that Insight would go back on 5/12/15 and review the agreement and have something back to us. And we haven't seen anything on that. And I also wanted to kind of get an update on Credo because if you remember, we added that as an extra service.
Yeah.
I don't know what we've gotten from that. And that would be a discussion I'd like to have, whether we continue that service or not. And then, from what I understand, you guys do a monthly economic development meeting. Is that still going on?
Yes, they do have regular economic development meetings. And in fact, they've been working on some special projects too. So, yes, I do not know. What I can tell you is the mayor has been looking into whether he wants to have the same services for next year, but whether he's gotten a proposal from them or made a decision, that I cannot tell you.
All right, so it appears the agreement ends at the end of this month.
Yes.
So I would expect we'd see something sometime within the first meeting or two.
I would assume so, yes.
All right, and I would just hope that we get something in time where we can
I will
digest
make a
it.
note.
And then if we could, I don't know if it's too big of an ask, I know if they have these monthly meetings with economic development, it'd be nice if we got some sort of kind of report of what happened in those meetings, just so we can kind of keep the finger on the pulse of things that they be coming down the road.
I'll pass that along.
All right. And then, yeah, just to touch back on the Christmas lights, although we had a handful of residents that actually, made us aware of their locations, there's a ton of other locations out there that didn't basically give us their addresses to go look at, but there's a ton of lights out there, and it's really nice to go out there and look at them. It just gets better and better every year.
It does, I agree with you, and more.
Yeah.
I mean, people are really decorating.
That's all I have for new business, if anybody else, seeing none. All right, we'll go back to public comments and questions. If anybody had any comments or questions that was brought up from anything this meeting? Anybody? All right, seeing none, we have a need for an executive session. Executive session is going to be to consider confidential information related to an application for economic development and assistance. Do I have a motion to enter executive session?
Do you need to announce who you're inviting to the executive session?
Yes, I need to invite Mr. Atkins, Mr. Dodson, and Mr. Butterworth,
And I'll make the motion.
Susan?
and Susan. Thank you, Jim. All right, so I have a first, I have a second. Kelly, you have a first and a second.
Mr. Fox?
Yes.
Mr. Schaefer?
Yes.
Mrs. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Powell?
Yes.
Mr. Stiles?
Yes.
Mr. Wolf?
Yes.
Mr. Ong?
Yes.
We're going to,
Our next meeting,
next meeting will be January 2nd
Only two, because I
at
got.
6 p.m.